Hey guys, I'm Amber Sykes. I'm currently pursuing a master's degree from Liberty University in Human Services Counseling with a specialization in crisis and trauma. I'm submitting this video for my group dynamics class. For my group leading project, I chose to lead a support group for working parents who are also enrolled in college courses. I chose this particular type of group because as a full-time nurse, a full-time student, and a full-time mom, I tend to get overwhelmed very easily. I put a lot on myself, and when I don't reach the goals that I set for myself, or I'm unable to obtain success with everything that I choose to do, I tend to get very discouraged. So I feel like a group of this nature will be very important for someone living the lifestyle that I'm living right now. I wanted to meet people who are in the same situation as I am so that we could offer each other support and comfort and communication throughout this journey. The support group took place on Saturday, August the 12th at the McCready United Methodist Church Fellowship Hall in Saltville, Virginia. It began at 3 o'clock p.m. and lasted approximately 2 hours. There were 6 participants, 4 were female, 2 were male. 3 of the 4 women had 1 child each. The 4th woman had 3 children. One of the men had 1 child and the other had 2. And they were all currently enrolled in college courses. One group member was pursuing a master's degree, 3 were pursuing bachelor's degrees, and 2 were pursuing associate's degrees. I began the session by explaining the basis of the group, emphasizing my hopes of providing a support for one another to get us all through this difficult time in our lives. I also reminded the group members that participation in the group was completely voluntary. They could leave at any time, and anything that was discussed within the group remained within the group, and it was completely confidential. I then introduced myself, how many children I have, what I'm pursuing in college, and what my career is at this time. I then initiated an introduction exercise known as the name round. This exercise is made up of me asking each member to introduce themselves in the same manner that I did, by explaining who they were, what they're pursuing in college, how many children they have, and what they do for a living. Once everyone had introduced themselves, I asked the group if anyone had any questions before we got started. One of the male participants actually questioned whether anyone would be willing to communicate outside of the group with one another. He asked if anyone would be interested in starting a call log, phone tree, text log, email log, something like that, so that we could all keep in touch and help one another get through the remainder of our college experience. So together as a group, we all did decide that we would exchange phone numbers and email addresses, and that way we could all keep in touch and provide support for one another. So it was a very positive experience that I gained from the support group as a whole, and we did decide together that we would do that. Moving on, I asked the group a series of questions. The questions were, what do you all think is the most difficult part of being a working student and parent all at the same time? In what ways do you de-stress once you're out of work, school environment? And what advice would you give to others in similar situations as us? After each question was asked, the group members discussed their answers with one another. I was actually pleasantly surprised by how comfortable and confident they were with one another. It seemed that the group members easily found commonality in each other's answers, and they had a lot to discuss with one another. There were tears, there was laughter, there was no arguments, disagreements, anything of that nature. It was all very positive. Even when they were crying, it was a happy cry, because they felt that they were in an environment where someone understood what they were going through, and it made them feel very comfortable and hopeful that they could make it through this. As a leader, I worked to be an example by exhibiting self-disclosure. I offered my own answers to the questions, and I joined in the discussions with the group members so that they knew that I did understand what they were going through, because like them, I am a working mother and a student, a full-time student, and I know how grueling it is, how tiring it is, how discouraging it can be, and it really works on every part of your psyche, and I completely understand that. So it was really nice to be able to relate to them and show them that I wasn't just a leader and authority figure, that I was actually like them. I'm going through the same things they're experiencing. So that was very positive. I also redirected the conversation when it kind of went off course. While the group members were discussing how many children they had, many of them wanted to tell stories about their children, which is fine, but my main focus for this group was to discuss coping skills and ways that we can get through our stress and our discouragement and our overwhelming sense to make it through this. So once those discussions got out of line or off track, I redirected them by asking questions or reiterating something they had said to the previous question so that we could get back on track. Considering this was my first time actually leading a group of this nature, I feel like I did a satisfactory job. I was able to keep the discussion on track and spark productive, meaningful conversations among the group members. The main challenges I faced, I feel, were my own apprehensions about my ability to actually lead a group successfully. But once the session began, I felt very comfortable, and I feel like I took on my leadership role very well. I took it very seriously, and I was very pleased with the outcome of the group. And like I said, I did provide a model for the group by self-disclosing my own fears and thoughts and things of that nature, and providing coping skills that I use so that they may be able to use those as well. I feel like I aided the group members in feeling comfortable and confident, and that they were in a honest, trusting environment, and that they could talk about whatever they needed to talk about, and that we would all understand and accept what they were saying. The main thing I feel like I need to work on is just my own self-confidence and my ability to be an effective leader. I know that there's much more I need to work on personally to lead a group, but self-confidence is my main concern in that area right now. So in conclusion, this experience was very positive for me. I gained a lot of coping skills that I was not familiar with before, and I do intend to use those, especially now that I'm nearing the end of my journey for my master's degree. It's getting more and more overwhelming, and it's really, really, really reaffirming to know that there are people going through the same thing who understand what I'm going through and are struggling like I'm struggling, because I feel like I fall short in school, in work, and in my family. I have a really hard time balancing, and time management is a really big issue for me, and that was actually one of the main issues with the group as a whole, was time management. We all kind of felt that we fell short when it came to our children. We don't neglect them by any means, but we do sometimes have to choose schoolwork over spending time with them, and that's a really hard battle to fight. So this was a very positive experience for me, and in the future I do plan to use what I learned from this experience to strengthen my leadership skills and hopefully become an effective leader who can facilitate a group of this nature for future working moms and dads who decide to continue their education once they're a little older. So I'm very happy with the outcome of this group, and this leadership experience was very positive for me, and it provided me with not only the coping skills that I was unaware of before, but a group of people who understand me, know what I'm going through, suffer the way I suffer, feel the same discouragement I feel, and they're making it. So that's very encouraging to me. So this was a very positive experience, and I'm so thankful that I got this chance. So thank you very much.